All right, well, that's it, guys. I am completely done with SoFi. I mean, it's dead money. There's no growth there. They're just going to dilute us to zero. Noto is the worst CEO ever. I'm only buying to the moon stocks now. That's what we're doing right here on this channel because picking those is super easy compared to everything else. Or maybe everything I just said was simply not true whatsoever. So let's talk about the earnings and each one of those points as well and what I'm doing with SoFi and everything around SoFi. Let's talk about it all right after you like the video, if you like getting the truth out the hype, because that is exactly what you're going to get today, guys. That's exactly what this channel is all about. I apologize in advance. Sometimes not everybody likes that. That's okay. I don't know how else to give it to you guys other than that. But let's get into my thoughts around everything we just talked about there, starting with number one, and that is SoFi isn't growing. Now, that's something I hear a lot. And by the way, I pulled all these points from my comment section on my recent SoFi videos, okay? So that's something I hear a lot. Now, stock price, I would agree with you for now. It hasn't been growing like we would all like. Now, that all comes down to when you bought and everything else of that nature. Some of us are up a lot on our shares. Some of us not so much. Understand that completely, okay? But in regards to the stock price not growing for now, I would agree with you guys in general, okay? But earnings, anybody that says earnings aren't growing, the company's not growing, the data shows the exact opposite, okay? That's the truth. I'm not interested in narratives and things of that nature. When you get into the data on the earnings call, it shows the exact opposite. It is absolutely growing and growing at almost 40%. That's amazing, especially for what a lot of folks like to call a quote unquote bank. Okay. Stocks always, in the end, return back to fair value. As long as those earnings are growing and as long as you're seeing continued growth, they always return to that fair value. And if you use a tool like Fiscal AI, you can see all the current and past earnings data in real time, compare it against other companies, put it all together, and you'll see the company is absolutely growing right there in the chart. You can graph it, you can chart it, put it against previous quarters, put it against the S&P, do whatever the heck you want. You can absolutely say it is absolutely growing all the way around as a business. And you can get an almost $1,000 max membership to Fiscal AI on me. That's right. It's free for annual group members, and the earnings flash sale is live for you to get that membership on a big discount. But the sale is ending soon, guys. Check that out as the pinned comment below. But you got to get into those fundamentals. You got to understand what they're doing. And Fiscal AI is the best tool out there in order for you guys to get there and see that. But we'll talk more about this at the end. So number two, it's dead money. I love it when people say it, especially down in the comments, especially when they say something like this. If you owned it for 5 years, it's gone absolutely nowhere. You're down, and you should have just bought the S&P because look at how much it's up in those 5 years. And my response is always, well, it depends on when you bought and at what price you bought that at for that to be true. Okay. So if you bought at $32, you're down over 50% right now, right? That's a fact. However, if you bought at $4, you're sitting on over a triple up. The same stock, the same time frame, two completely different outcomes. That's why that comparison is so utterly useless. And anybody posting that, it's useless unless you did that. So unless you're that one person who magically bought on the exact day 5 years ago that, the 5-year, return shows, and you didn't buy any other shares since then. So unless you're that guy that did that and bought on that exact day 5 years ago, that comparison is utterly useless to anyone because you most likely didn't buy on that day, making the entire comparison useless and just it's not relevant at all, ever. So to just pick two arbitrary things and say, look, see, that's why this stock sucks and the S&P would have been better is materially false because I just showed you how you absolutely crushed the S&P by multiples if you simply bought it down in the $4 range instead, which is just as likely, if not more likely, than somebody who bought on that magical day, one day, 5 years ago, and didn't do anything in the meantime there. So those type comparisons, I just laugh at them because it's just like, okay, I can do that with anything. I can cherry pick any timeline and make it say whatever the heck I want, right? I just did it. So utterly useless to you as an investor, which leads me perfectly into number three, which is hindsight always picks the winners. Anytime you look back, you can make the greatest move in the world, right? I'm up almost 60,000% on my initial Apple shares, okay? However, in hindsight, that looks great, right? It's always like, oh, Luke, man, I wish I would have done that back in that time frame, early 2000s. That right there would be great. My life would be completely different. However, you can also look back during that time frame and see I missed the bottom by 40%. Hindsight always wins. It always picks the winners. And there's been various times during that time frame where, and especially if you want to use a 2 or 3 year time frame during that time, where it didn't outperform. Apple didn't outperform a lot of other stocks that have been dogs since then. Definitely haven't given you a almost 60,000% return, but during that short time frame, absolutely destroyed Apple during that time. Even my own buys in Apple, when I look back in hindsight, I was wrong. I picked poorly. Matter of fact, when you miss the bottom by 40%, you pick pretty poorly, right? That's kind of how that works. So hindsight always picks winners. Don't get into that mindset. Don't get in that mindset of, man, if I just would have bought this would have happened. Oh, if I just would have bought that would have happened. Guys, there's stocks that are up 7,000% this year. Couldn't tell you what they were. However, if we want to play this game, I can pick any stock that you picked that's done incredibly well this year and go, well, why didn't you pick the one that returned 7,000? Man, you missed out. Sorry. Ugh. Terrible, terrible. That's what hindsight does. Hindsight is where trillionaire investors live. Reality, unfortunately, is where all the rest of us live, and there's no trillionaire investors because nobody picks 100%. Oh, I would have picked this, and I would have traded out of that and got into this, and then I would have traded out of that and got into this, and just 10x my way to $1 trillion in a year. That's why a lot of folks, when they're trying to build a bull or bear case for a stock, sometimes they simply use hindsight to justify current moves in the market or justify what they should have done in the meantime, or why your idea was a bad idea, your plan was a bad idea, despite the fact they didn't actually execute on everything they're talking about as well, because they're simply using hindsight, which we can all play that game. And number 4, dilution and Noto is the worst. You show me a early stage growth company that's growing at 40%, and take any of the Magnificent Seven, take any of the, Palantir, take anybody in their early journey in regards to their first 10 years in the stock market, and show me one where there was no dilution. It simply doesn't exist. What you see is dilution going up and to the right, which I think opposite for you guys would be that way. But nonetheless, you see massive dilution the first few years of the business, the first decade of the business. And then of course, every time they need to expand the business, you see what? More dilution. So the idea that somehow dilution is bad for SoFi, but it was not bad for Apple back in the day, which they diluted multiple times, Tesla back in the day, they've diluted multiple times, or Google, or Amazon, or any other mega cap company out there, somehow dilution was bad for you, despite hundreds of thousands of percent in gains in some of those stocks since the dilution, is simply just not true. That's what the stats show you. That's the reason why the only folks ever talking about these things is, of course, people on social media and us as retail investors. Same exact thing with Noto being one of the worst CEOs. You never hear that in Wall Street circles. If you happen to talk to folks on Wall Street, you never hear that anywhere except for, right here on social media land, which is one of those things where those type thinking and getting into those type thought processes instead of actually doing that work, analyzing, going back and saying, hey, what was the dilution like for NVIDIA, its first 10 years in the market? What was that like for Apple, its first 10 years in the market? And go back to Meta. What was it for Meta the first few years in the market there? You can go back and see all these sorts of things, and you see the same exact pattern as they are growing the business out. Then later on, that's when they start bringing their share count down. But that's after massive dilution for years, sometimes decades into the future. So that right there is kind of my thoughts around those narratives. And obviously, as you guys can tell, I wasn't serious about any of those. I don't believe in any of those. So let's get into my thoughts on earnings next. So when I looked at these earnings, I thought they were great. I didn't really have any issues with them. I thought they were better than last quarter's earnings, actually. He did exactly, this is one of the best things I love about Noto and what this management team does. I'll tell you about my plan here with SoFi here in just a second. I'll get there, guys, I promise. But this is what I loved about they do. They project out, and then they hit their projections or they beat their projections. And it should give you the ultimate confidence. They reported before the FOMC meeting, and they told you all of our guidance for this year was based upon 2 rate cuts. For those of you guys out there that are worried about rate cuts, I am not. But I know it's a narrative out there and everybody likes to listen to narratives. So if you believe that narrative, they made it based upon 2 rate cuts. Therefore, now they said they're planning on 2 rate hikes this year. That means they should be adjusting guidance down if it truly affects the business, right? But that's not what happened at all. You're seeing the exact opposite. Noto's like, no, we're actually going to raise revenue guidance and we're not concerned with what the Fed does. We've already planned for 2 rate hikes and it's all right. We're moving forward. We're still going to hit our marks anyways. We're still going to hit our EPS mark anyways, and we're going to raise a revenue mark despite the fact we think there's going to be 2 raises now instead of 2 rate cuts. Shows you all you need to know about the strength of the business itself. Now, of course, we did the full earnings review there in my group. We just watched the call in real time. I gave my notes beforehand, and then we kind of talked about various points as we went through it. It was actually a surprisingly longer earnings call than it normally is. So that video was obviously significantly longer there. And obviously we don't have that sort of time here on YouTube in order to do that. But my overall thoughts were that was great. Everything about it, the financials looked great. The execution was great. The setup for the back half of the year that they talked about last earnings call is 100% intact, and they are 100% on track to do it. And more importantly, it's going to be a surprise on that EPS side in regards to it'll look like big growth on the back end there, especially in that EPS number. Obviously, if they're able to hit those higher revenue numbers as well. So that makes my plan with SOFI much easier. So let's talk about my plan, which is I'm going to simply continue my modified DCA into SOFI. I know I'm going to hear a lot of the same exact things, but when you have a business that's growing at this clip and is simply not getting the love from Wall Street, it will eventually get that love. They made a triple beat and raised guidance and still didn't get any love. And part of that was just due to how the market mood was yesterday. I think they could have, I don't know, triple beat and raise guidance double, and I don't think it would have mattered. I think everybody was trading everything off yesterday regardless in regards to Wall Street. But hey, these are gifts to us as long-term investors. I understand it's taking longer than a lot of folks want. That to me just means more shares bought, which of course means more money made. And what is the same exact thing everybody always says after a stock run. So I'm not going to use Palantir as an example because a lot of folks go, well, it's not going to have a Palantir style run, which I agree with. But I think Google's run is very, very reasonable, right? Up to around $30 or so again, basically more than a double up, 32, 33, 34, 35. What's everybody going to be saying then? Oh man, I wish I would have bought more. Hey, Luke, should I buy now at 32? Is it really going to 50 or whatever the case is? Whatever all the narratives will be out there then, that's what everybody will say. Therefore, I'm going to make sure I have all the shares that I want right now, which I actually do have all the shares that I want right now. However, you want to give me a business that is executing on a high level, not like PayPal. PayPal was a turnaround play, completely different. They were not executing on a high level. The turnaround was actually happening super, super slow. We're talking, single digit growth rate versus almost 40% growth rate, night and day different. You can't even compare the two at that stage in regards to what I'm seeing in earnings there. And in regards to me feeling very, very comfortable putting a lot more money towards SOFI, that's what I plan on doing. And if you want to see those buy and sell alerts in real time, get your free Fiscal AI membership, almost $1,000 value right there. Obviously, my membership doesn't cost nearly that much, where you get everything, free courses, free coaching, be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there, trying to make you a better investor, and everything else that's involved. Check out the pinned comment, see if a membership's right for you. If nothing else, hey, get your free Fiscal AI. You're basically getting more than half off, just simply doing it that way there for that product. So check it out. It's the pinned comment, see if a membership's right for you before the price goes up and you're not getting that deal anymore. And click this video here and see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.